Joel Dublanko, he is the first overall pick of the 2024 CFL draft of your Edmonton Elks yesterday.
Yeah, a couple clicks.
Nice.
Clicks.
Wearing the gear, which looks great. You look great in the green and gold.
Yes.
Congratulations. Welcome to Edmonton. What was it like yesterday? Not just being named the first overall pick, but being able to do it with all your family and friends down at Commonwealth.
That was so special. It really felt like just a perfect scenario of all my friends and family that were able to come to be there, and especially just being able to talk with my Edmonton family up here, even some family members that they walked in and I didn't even know them, but they had the Dublanko last name, so they're family, you know what I mean? And then by the end of it, we're all hugging and laughing together. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to being up here and being able to reconnect with them and everything like that. So it was really special. It felt like, a completely God thing, how it all worked out, even just like the circumstance to come here, but also how it all played out. It was perfect. It was really a blessing.
So tell people that don't know your story, because you're from the state of Washington.
Yeah.
But what's your connection then to Edmonton overall?
Yeah, so my grandma and grandpa met up here. My grandpa grew up in Thorsby, and so my grandma came up from, I think, Vancouver area, and they met at seminary school. They're pastors in my town, but the pastors of the same church for 50 years. I guess they didn't even want to move, to our town, but they ended up doing it. And so so glad that happened. But the way I'm able to be in this draft is my dad. They already moved down to the States. My dad, my grandma was pregnant with my dad, and then they still had the Canadian health insurance, so they ran up there. And yeah, and so they ran up there and had him, was there for about a week, and then brought him back down. And so got a little bit of flack for that in terms of the fake Canadian, but I have a lot of roots here, and we even came here on some ski trips and stuff like that. So we would go to Big White and Sun Peaks and Whistler, and so it was always a really exciting time coming up to Canada. Love seeing the maple leaf everywhere, and so I love how in every logo, especially a worldwide logo, like a McDonald's, they just slap a maple leaf on.
100%.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's the only way to do it, and I think it's funny if Americans were to do that. They'd get some hate for it.
100% they
would.
But
it's everywhere.
Look at these guys again, right? Yeah, try to just trumpet it. USA.
Right.
That's probably the only time we're actually patriotic.
Exactly. Just on the McDonald's logo. So you're from Vancouver, Washington?
No, I'm from Aberdeen, Washington.
You're from Aberdeen? Okay, sweet.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I played in Tri-City.
Okay, very
for
cool.
4 years, so very familiar with that area.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, connection.
It's beautiful over there.
It's really beautiful. Yeah. Mike Riley actually was married to a girl from Tri-City.
Okay.
So we met each other at one of the Elks, one of their banquets. So we kind of shared that story. So pretty cool. So obviously,
that's really cool.
Another Washington State guy.
There you go.
Sweet.
Washington State produces a lot of CFL talent.
Absolutely.
It's a great well, this produce a lot of talent. It's a great state for football.
No doubt. And it's gotten so much better, especially with the gym that I train at down there. Honestly, they really changed a lot of the perception of Washington football. And so FSP, shout out to them. They're awesome. And they just changed the game when it comes to Washington sports, because a lot of teams, especially college teams in the States, wouldn't even recruit Washington. You're we're flying over so many good players in good states to get to Washington. Why would we do that? But now it seems like it's a necessary stop for a lot of these teams.
Okay, because I don't even know what it is. Our guy you switched chair was Lieutenant Eric, gave you a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You mind taking a look away? I don't know what this is either.
Yeah, this is eating away at you, hey?
Dublanko, no matter what. That's awesome. I think in terms of the first round pick, that's awesome. So thank you. Shout outs to him for that. That was really cool.
So how much did you follow the CFL? Is it something new that you've kind of been paying attention to? Have you watched it for a long time?
I don't know how much I've watched it, but I did go to a couple games when Curtis Dublanko, my cousin, was in the CFL. I think I was around 12 when I went and met him. I was about as tall as him at that time, and
And I'm still trying to get you there.
all right, and so no, I've known about it and heard about it a lot, and my grandpa would always talk about it and how big of an Elks fan he was, and so obviously Eskimos back then. So it's been on my radar for a long time, and we knew that was a possibility. I joked around earlier. It was kind of like a little bit of an ace up my sleeve, you know. Not really many people knew that I was Canadian or had that background, and even my agent when I told them. And so I think it just played out perfectly and completely in God's timing, and God's timing is the best timing.
Yeah, and I think that just sends shockwaves across, like to see, like, all of a sudden,
100%.
oh, this guy's available.
Yeah,
the whole draft board
Everybody's
changing at that
damn
point.
it.
Okay, we got an Elks, the Elks and G. Roy and Chris Jones.
exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Linebacker. Where do you like to play? Where can you play?
I really think I can play like any of the linebacker positions. I think from college, I was definitely more of a Mike, but when I was with the Philadelphia Stars, I played Will the whole time, and that's what they brought me in mid-season, and they're like, "Hey, we need a spark and need a guy who's going to be a role player at Will." And I got there, and I was fighting for a starting job, and ruffled some feathers over there, but it's just competitive. You know what I mean? Everyone's trying to win a job and get as much film as they can. And so, I'm really comfortable with any position. And I feel like ever since college, I've been recreating myself to be a player that can play more in space. I went from running a 4.74 hand time 40, which is like pretty mediocre, to on the combine I ran a 4.59 laser. And so the difference between laser and hand time is like huge. Like if I would have ran a 4.74 hand time, that would have been like a 4.94 like laser. It takes away that much, especially like off the hand movement. It takes a while to train for that, and so that was a huge blessing, and just thanking God that like I said, his timing is the best timing. How it all laid out, how many opportunities, and how often does it happen to where a guy 2 years later after the draft goes and lowers his time by that much. And
That's
so
ridiculous.
Well,
in a great way.
Just for viewers, like to understand what a 4.5 with a guy your size, like that's flying. Like most people your size shouldn't move that fast. It is what it is.
Well,
So if you're watching or listening to the show, the man next to me is a freak.
So, well, that I would assume would really help, especially like, what do you think is going to be the biggest adjustment you might have to make to the bigger field of the CFL?
I don't know. I keep saying the waggle and stuff like that. I really think like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like the 1 yard off the line of scrimmage for the defensive line. I think that just changes a lot in the run game. And I'll be interested to see how it plays out. And see even how, like, hitting gaps and everything. Yeah, I'm just interested to see how it...
Well, I think the fact that you've improved your speed is going to help you immensely.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, if you're still that 4.7, okay, sure, because of that extra 1 yard, all of a sudden trying to chase that running back down, you might get him. But now it's like you're going to cover that field very, very easily.
No doubt. Well,
It'll
it's
become
not even...
smaller in almost in a sense.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even the 1 yard off the ball that, I have to be a yard back or whatever. That doesn't really affect me. It affects how the blocks play out.
Okay.
And so guys can get reached easier and vice versa. So obviously it's a little more of an advantage in the pass rush for guys to have a little bit more space to work a move. But I'll be interested to see how it works in the run. Maybe the holes are just that much bigger. And so, bigger collisions. That's what I've heard. Just more space, bigger collisions. And so I'm excited to see it play and fly around and have fun.
You're a Bearcat.
Yes, sir.
What was it like playing at the University in Cincinnati? And I think in your last year, you led the team in tackles. You guys were one of the top defenses in the nation, which there's a lot of teams in that nation. So, that's absolutely incredible to be the leading tackler. What was it like having that experience at the University of Cincinnati?
Well, it's so cool. I mean, when I first got there, we were really bad. We weren't very good. But, Luke Fickle came in my second year there. And ever since then, we struggled. We didn't have a great year that first year. We didn't make a bowl game. But ever since then, we just kept laying brick by brick the foundation from the ground floor. And so it was really cool to build it up. And eventually, you know, our senior year, my last year, led the team in tackles, but, you know, we went to college football playoffs too. And that was the first non-Power 5 team to ever do that. And we had a really, really good team. And our defense, we were scary good. You know, we have a lot of guys that are playing in the league right now from that team. And so it was studs across the board. So it was an honor to even, you know, be highest in tackles, be team captain for it, and be a part of that legacy. And even with the NCAA football game coming out, it's like, are we going to be one of those like legacy teams? That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
So,
that'd be really cool.
yeah, wondering what kind of overall rating they'll give me, but I don't know how friendly they'll be. But especially with all the studs we had on our team. But
hey, you led the team in tackles,
right?
That's your defense.
Hey, that's gotta be
these
something.
guys were so good, but I was better. Look at my stat.
Right? Yeah,
it's gotta be worth
absolutely.
something.
Yeah, no, everyone had their part, and it was so cool to be a part of that team, and such a blessing. And it really felt like the culmination of like everything we're building, and that's why I felt so strong, like felt so good about what we're doing, is because like I had confidence, like we develop guys, and that's how. I kind of lost respect for other schools that get all these recruits, right? Mm-hmm. Like you get all these like top guys, and you guys don't do anything with them, and so I'm like. Well, I know Luke Fickle and his staff, like they're gonna freaking develop you, and they'll put you through the fire. It's not gonna be easy, but I went from a guy that they're potentially gonna like, be like, hey, you gotta head on somewhere else, like from their first spring to being able to be the starter and team captain for them. And so it was a lot of hard work, a lot of long nights and scratching and clawing for everything that I got, and I think that. That chip on my shoulder and how my pro career's gone so far is just like change everything for me. I got drafted first round yesterday, but like I don't really feel like a first rounder from a sense. I don't know. Like, all I care about is the work. You know what I mean? And I'm a process driven guy. I love football, and so I'm excited just to get to camp and get on the field and everything like that. And I'm here to earn my job. You know what I mean? And go out there and compete and win, and hopefully put on a good product for you guys this season.
You spent some time at a couple of NFL camps. You're also USFL. What do you think you learned the most of your experience there?
What I learned the most is probably just, there's no one-dimensional guys in this league, and a lot of team dynamics. All these guys are here to win a job, and ultimately, if you're playing, you've probably taken the food out of some guys' mouth. It's like a weird way to say it, but you're fighting for your livelihood here. And mine too. And some guys have kids. You know what I mean. So it's a different ball game, and so it's an interesting situation. And I think that it's just prepared me each way to understand. Even practicing and even practicing in college is so different from practicing in the pros. Just making sure you're taking care of guys, because it's less about like trying to get a shot on another guy or like a practice player or something like that. It's like, you're really getting your work in for that week and like taking care of each other so we can all make it to the game, because, we're all we got, and so we don't want any setbacks. And so, yeah, it's a lot of people say, practice like a pro and prepare your body like a pro, study like a pro. Well, I already know what that is, because I am a pro and I've been through that. I've been through some of the growing pains of it, and just learning that, you got to be a really well-rounded football player to play at a high level in any of these pro leagues. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I think has been the biggest part of my growing throughout this whole process.
Was that something you had to grow too? Like, was that a big development of getting to the pros and learning? You
gotta be good with everything you do, right? Like the elite players are going to be elite at multiple things, and for basically everybody else, you got to figure out how to, I guess, differentiate yourself from other people, but at the same time, you're like, I got to be good at everything. So it's trying to figure out how to be a pro, how to prepare your body, how to prepare your mind, to film study, all that stuff. It's a job. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that separates guys that don't make it to the guys that do. These guys understand it, because you can't take that day off. You can't have that cheeseburger that one extra day when somebody else is doing something else and they're making sure that they're preparing their body to get to that level. It's hard to explain, but it's a grind for sure.
And it's a whole process too. Like it takes time, you know what I mean? And that's why, sometimes it takes a little bit for new guys to catch on a little bit, because a lot of that figuring it out process, you probably have gone to some vets for advice, you know what I mean? And I've gone to the vets that I've been able to be around for asking, their processes, how they do things. And then it's a process of implementing some of their stuff into what you do, you know what I mean? And making it your own. So that whole process, takes a little bit of time, and luckily I've been through that, and it's an ongoing process. It doesn't stop, right? You're always trying to find ways to get better, and so but I'm definitely further along than most in that journey.
Do you have any linebackers or players that you've always looked up to or trying to emulate in a way?
Yeah, so I've been super fortunate. The gym that I train at, FSP, Bobby Wagner trains there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Nice.
So literally, like, he congratulated me last night. We were texting back and forth, but we trained together Monday morning before I caught my flight up here, and he's awesome. Talk about a guy that first ballot Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? One of the best to ever play the position.
Part of one of the just most exciting defenses to watch.
No doubt.
Legion of Boom was so amazing.
Oh, yeah. And for me, being a kid that grew up in Aberdeen, Washington, those guys were the guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of them train, even Cam Chancellor. I've met Richard Sherman, and
nice.
A lot of those guys come to the gym that I train at. They're very tied in. And so it was so cool to meet them, and even KJ Wright. So that's been a huge blessing. And even being able to train with Bobby, my trainer says, hey, you want to spar with Bobby? I'm like his sparring partner. I'm like, absolutely, I'll be your sparring partner. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
I just try to soak up everything I can from him. I watch him and see how he goes about his work. I ask him why he does certain things, and so that's somebody that's even how he watches film. We've sat down and he wrote everything down, his whole process throughout the week. And so I go back and look at that, and then, it's similar to mine, but he's one of the best. So adding, to what I do, and
Just whatever that little extra he does.
Absolutely.
To add that is just a huge
and
bonus.
so asking about him, guys at that high level, they have the benefit of, their entire lives are structured around football, and even during the season, he's not really talking to anybody. It's all football. You know what I mean? And so, it's really cool. He's such a down to earth guy too, and so it's been really amazing to connect with him. And a special thing, even seeing those guys come up, I'm starstruck. You know what I'm saying? And so, but being able to call them one of my friends, so that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So were you a Seahawks fan growing up then?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that whole area is.
Well, you have to be. I guess you'd have to be.
Well, the whole
so
region.
Would have you been a Huskies fan then growing up before you became a Bearcat, or?
I was a little bit of a Huskies fan growing up, really, because my uncles really pushed the Huskies onto me a little bit. But as the recruiting process starts, you stop being a fan as much. I would say for me personally.
Yep.
And it was just I was getting recruited very early on. I think I got my first offer in 8th grade.
No way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
WSU, Colin?
No, it was Montana.
Montana?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good school too.
Yeah, for sure.
Lower level, but that's a good program too.
Yeah, no doubt. So that was really cool. And then I got, an SEC offer, I think, my freshman year. And so, I had a lot early on, attention in that sense. So I kind of stopped, you kind of become more, neutral, what I mean? And you're thinking of schools and stuff like that. And it kind of seemed like I was going to fit better in, the SEC. But then, I ended up going to Cincinnati, and that was a huge blessing. That's a whole story in and of itself. I didn't even sign on signing day. I signed mid-April.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I didn't even sign a national letter of intent, which is what you sign on signing day.
Yep.
I don't even know what I signed. I signed something, but I don't know what it was called, but it was past the date for that. So, we're praying for God to open doors on signing day, and he keeps closing them left and right, and then fast forward some time, and he opens the exact one he wants me to go through.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been the story of my life. You know what I mean? All these different leagues happening. I was part of the USFL. My team got cut. Praying for God to open up an opportunity in the UFL, and then didn't work out. And now God opened this door in the CFL, and it's just like every step of the way, the combine, right? How it all came to be, and then yesterday and everything like that, and having family here and being picked to Edmonton and them having #1 pick. It was just such a blessing. It was really cool.
Training camp's going to get going soon here, and then your first season will get going right then. But what do you like doing in the downtime? Like, do you like watching other sports? Are you a gamer? Like, what do you?
Big gamer.
Yeah?
Big gamer here. Yeah, that's my #1. I also got really big into hunting. I hunted like growing up.
You're in the good city for that one. Then,
yeah. Well, I was talking to one of my cousins that came up, and he's got a ranch down a little bit. So I guess he's in the rodeo and stuff like that too, or was. And then now he just, he's a cattle rancher, and so he's like, oh yeah, we could come out here and do some hunting, and so we're gonna be looking to do some opportunities like that. He's like, we got a big gopher problem. We just come down and take some of those out. Help me out here. And but yeah, I love to do that, hunt and play video games.
What games?
Big Call of Duty guy. First person shooters.
Yeah.
I never really got into the like sports games and stuff like that. I'd do like NCAA 08.
Yep.
Or the one with
Who was 08?
I don't know. Maybe 07. It was the one with Reggie Bush on the cover.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I would play the Dynasty, and my brother and I would play on the same like system, but we had different like characters. But I remember like I would break like the rushing record like for NCAA or whatever, because I would be a running back and I'd do I would make a running back, and then on defense,
100%,
right. Well, I did a running back, and then I would do a outside linebacker, and I would just do the same play over and over. I just get sacks over and over, and so I would watch a Heisman watch, and this outside linebacker ended up being on the Heisman watch, so I had to switch the play and do it on the other side because he wasn't going to win the Heisman over me. but I would my brother would play on the same system, not on the same account, but and then we would I'd see back and forth. We were breaking each other's records, so I don't know how it kept track of that because there's two different accounts,
so
But it was pretty cool. I would just do.
Your competitive one, hey?
Yeah,
You can't even listen to yourself.
Yeah, no, other side.
Even though you're the other guy too.
Literally, it's me. Yeah, no,
I gotta win with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I have my name and everything, Joel Dublanko. So, but I would just do my one play. I would do is a halfback counter.
Yep.
And that's a great running play.
And so I would just switch. I would just flip the play every play. Every play, and I would just gash the computer.
That's a great play, actually, in those systems.
Yeah.
You just let that block move, and then boom, you're gone. Oh,
that is so funny.
it is fantastic. Well, Joel, it was absolutely fantastic having you here today.
Thank you so
again,
much.
Congratulations on being the #1 overall pick. Welcome to the city of Edmonton, and I know we're all very much excited to watch you take to the field with this team this year and see what you guys can do at Commonwealth Stadium.
Thank you. So am I, and thank you so much for having me, you guys. This is a pleasure.